All right, welcome back to my YouTube channel, talking a little 49ers as they prepare to face the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday in week 2. And please be sure to subscribe, like, comment, all those good things as we build this community up. 49ers had a practice on Thursday, and everybody on their 53-man roster was on the field. So that means that Etor Gross-Matos, defensive end, was back practicing in a limited fashion. It means that D Winters was back practicing. Both of those guys, Etor Gross-Matos, the defensive end, D Winters, the linebacker, means both of those guys had been out since the final preseason game, injured in that game, missed all the practices last week as they prepared for week 1. They're back on it now. So there were 6 guys on the 49ers who had limited practice work during Thursday's practice. Those two, and of course, Christian McCaffrey. A lot of attention, obviously, and a lot of eyeballs drawn to where Christian McCaffrey is as we're out there watching 49ers practice. And it looked to me like he's going a little bit half speed or just kind of toned it down a little bit, not going 100 miles an hour. So we'll see what this looks like as the 49ers continue to game prep for the Vikings. My guess is that he won't play in this upcoming game, but of course, last week I thought he would, based on how he was talking earlier in the week. But 49ers feel good, obviously, about what Jordan Mason brings to the table. In talking about McCaffrey and how things change when McCaffrey is out there as opposed to when he's not out there, I think it really shows up on third downs. And this is something that Brock Purdy talked about on Thursday. When McCaffrey is out there on third downs, teams really have to game plan for him, especially, third and 6, those kinds of situations, third and 4, where they can send him out of the backfield. And he's such a tough matchup because of his ability to run routes and run those choice routes where he can get open and Purdy can just put it on him. So teams often will decide, okay, maybe double team McCaffrey. And that just kind of leaves things a little bit more open for George Kittle, for Deebo Samuel, for Brandon Ayuk. And so when McCaffrey isn't out there, teams can play the 49ers more straight up across the board, covering all those other guys because they simply don't have the kind of receiving threat that McCaffrey poses on those third downs. So that's one thing to keep an eye on this coming week. McCaffrey, he talked about having that mindset of he's going to play, and then if he's not able to play due to the Achilles tendonitis or the calf strain, then that's a decision for later in the week. That's the way he feels like his mindset has to be. Kyle Shanahan said that no thought has been given to placing him on an injured reserve, which would shut him down for 4 weeks. So if that's the case, you would expect that the 49ers believe that McCaffrey can get out there sometime in the first 4 games. It sounds like he's close, but are they going to press the issue? Remains to be seen. 49ers have a challenge this week offensively because they're going up against Brian Flores, the defense coordinator of the Vikings, former head coach of the Miami Dolphins. And Purdy talked about how this defense is kind of an outlier because of the things they do. He calls it an illusion fest. In other words, they do a lot of window dressing pre-snap to try to get the quarterback to think that they're in one defense, and then they rotate out of that post snap to get back into what the play call was. And so, so much of playing the quarterback position is trying to diagnose what the defense is going to do pre-snap, just so you know where to go with the ball, when to go with the ball, where the defense is going to be, their strengths and their weaknesses. But there's going to be a lot more on the plate for Brock Purdy post-snap in this game to just kind of see where they rotate and what adjustments he has to make during the course of a play. Now, remember, last year, the 49ers struggled in that game Monday night against the Vikings. That was coming off the loss against the Browns. And Purdy got off to a good start in that game, But then, if you recall, with about 5 minutes left, he sustained a concussion, and then he ended up throwing two interceptions later in the game, late in the game, and the 49ers lost 22-17. To be noted, the 49ers did not have Trent Williams in that game, and they did not have Deebo Samuel. So all that, kind of piled up on the 49ers, some bad breaks along the way with Christian McCaffrey fumbling. Jake Moody, I know, missed a field goal early in that game. 49ers lose, and they've lost 7 consecutive times in Minnesota, and that covers 32 years. So that's something that they're going to look to, a couple of streaks that they're looking to end. Another thing that makes it so difficult for any team going in there, but for the 49ers in particular, that they've experienced all these losses in Minnesota, is the same at the Metrodome as it is now at US Bank Stadium. It's a very loud environment. So the 49ers will have to do a lot of silent count in this game. And the guy who's in charge of looking back and looking at Purdy and getting the signal to start the silent count is Dominic Puni. So he will be the one tapping the backside of Jake Brendel to basically start to engage that snap count. And it's a big neutralizer for the 49ers offense going up against the Vikings. They won't be able to have that advantage of being able to hear the snap count. And so that's where the Vikings seem to thrive, in that environment, being able to play fast. It'll be tough for the 49ers to run the ball as it was last season. It'll be tough for them to pass block in those situations as well. Now, earlier, when I posted a video here on YouTube, I talked a lot about Sam Darnold and his arm and all of that. And the 49ers continue to talk about that, the talent that he has. Darnold is a talented guy, but he hasn't met those expectations or the potential that he has as being a number 3 overall draft pick. I think this game sets up well for the 49ers from the standpoint of the defensive guys know him very well. They know his style. They know that they can put pressure on him and force some mistakes. And that's kind of been the story of Darnold's career. He says that he gained a lot of experience from that time with the 49ers. And Brock Purdy even said that he owes a lot to Sam Darnold, just the way he handled himself as a veteran quarterback. And what Brock Purdy says is Sam Darnold gave him everything he had in order to help Brock Purdy be good at his craft as well. But, throughout Darnold's career, he's had a tendency to throw passes to players on the other team, more than certainly he would like and more than the team that's had him would like. So I do think in this game, if the 49ers can shut down the running game, and that'll be their number one focus, try to neutralize Aaron Jones, the former Packers running back who's now with the Vikings, and get these kind of predictable down and distance passing situations. That will enable Nick Bosa and Leonard Floyd and the inside guys to get after Darnold, create some situations where they can force him into mistakes. And then I think the defensive backs feel like they're in positions that they can feast, that they can have some opportunities to pick off Sam Darnold. I don't expect Charvarius Ward to shadow Justin Jefferson. You're talking about the 49ers' best cornerback against one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And the reason is because I really think that right now, Nick Sorensen and the 49ers defensive staff believe that Diamador Lenore is right there with Charvarius Ward as far as being, a very solid 1-2 combination with not a whole lot of difference between 1 and 2. And I just hearken back to, it would have been Brock Purdy's rookie year. It would have been 2022 when the 49ers had some joint practices against the Vikings. And the star of that practice sessions, the 2 days of practice, the star was Diamador Lenore. He had some really good reps against Justin Jefferson. And I think that really propelled him into a starting role that now he is absolutely locked down. So I bet that Diamador Lenore would not be happy if the 49ers entrusted Charvarius Ward to shadow Jefferson. I think they will play sides wherever Jefferson goes out to whichever side. That'll be the cornerback that takes him. And then, of course, in nickel situations, Lenore slides inside and Isaac Yiadom will step in and play on the outside. So that could be something where maybe on third downs they do that. But I also think there's confidence in Isaac Yiadom that he showed like he's a good player. And I think the 49ers have really upgraded their nickel defense with the addition of Yiadom. And then also, I think if they needed Renardo Green, I think he would be an upgrade over what the 49ers had last season as well. So that's where we're at. I think I hit all the injuries. Talanoa Hufanga was limited. Juwan Jennings was limited. Aaron Banks was limited in practice. I would say the guys who are most iffy would be Winners and Gross Matos because they didn't play last week and they're just now returning to practice. Obviously, McCaffrey, 49ers have to figure out, how he feels, what's right, what's not right. And then Hufanga. Hufanga is getting close. And I would assume that when he's ready to go, he will step back into the starting lineup. George Odom, who started there last week, would probably be relegated back to a special teams player. But I think they're happy with the way that Odom played and has been playing. But Hufanga is only a year removed from being an all-pro guy. His second year in the league, first year as a full-time starter. He made first team all-pro. And so the 49ers are looking forward to getting him back in the lineup, getting Gross Matos in as a rotational player, getting Dre Greenlaw back middle of the season. And of course, on the offensive side, getting Christian McCaffrey back, as well as Brandon Ayuk, getting him up to speed where he can make a big impact. So once again, thanks for watching this YouTube video. Subscribe, comment, like, and we'll see you again real soon.